I'm a chai lover. And I was like, what do I order? This is so confusing. Bookbar is a place where you can express who you are through our coffee.
It's a wonderful place to sit and read, have a coffee and talk shop. In the initial phase, let's say for 3 months, 6 months, were there any challenges that you had to face?
People were ready to pay extra money, and I kind of understood that.
How do you see that customer benefiting you if he or she is going to be there for a very long time?
I need to give the customer that time and respect. Right? Okay, we might earn 10 rupees less, but we will have a 100% satisfied customer.
So welcome back to the second episode of Brew and Build, where we decode entrepreneurship stories. Today we have with us an amazing guest who has more than a decade worth of experience in brand building and entrepreneurship. Someone who has made an impact in the cafe ecosystem of Pune in less than 2 years. Today we have with us Mr. Avneesh, who will be sharing his story, decoding his formula of success with us. Avneesh, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes.
Happy to be here and answer all your questions.
Okay. Now, before starting the podcast, for better reference of our viewers, would you like to introduce yourself, walk us through your overall journey?
Definitely. So, I'm from Pune, and I've had I would say a little bit of an interesting career. So, first half of my life, I used to play cricket, professional cricket. So, played for Maharashtra, national level, captain Maharashtra. And then I decided to go into events and brand management. So I was working for an experiential marketing agency for at least 15 years in Gurgaon. So I did a bit of that. And then post-COVID, I happened to come back to Pune. As destiny would have it, I bumped into my old friend, Rushad Wadia. He's my co-founder for Bookbar also. So we started an online apparel brand first. So we were running that for a year and a half. It's still there, we just paused. But in the middle of all this madness, Bookbar started. And Rushad has been in the hospitality F&B space. I came from the whole experiential marketing, that space. And so that's my background. And we started Bookbar. The idea came about in, I think, Diwali of 2024. Bookbar was launched 3rd January 2025. So it's been a year and a couple of months, 2 months in for our first outlet.
Okay.
And 6-8 months for the Prabhat Road one, and then 6 months for the FC Road one. So I'll give you a broad introduction of what Bookbar is. So we are speciality coffee house, artisanal coffee. We don't like to use the word speciality per se. We are a bookstore and we are a pizza house. So specialty coffee, artisanal coffee, we are sourcing from different farms across the country. We are also tied up with different roasters. We do a bit of our roasting as well. And we try to give a very niche coffee experience to our guests in Pune. We have the different brew methods, which is like from pour overs to AeroPress, French press, espressos, milk-based coffee. So we have a full out-and-out coffee program. I think it's one of the biggest menus for coffee in the city, I would say. Then we do matcha, we do multiple things. So we are a coffee-forward cafe. That's the coffee part. When we talk about bookstore, we are not necessarily a bookstore like a proper shop to buy books. The idea was to introduce and give access to literature books to the community at large. Bring back the old culture of reading. You know, in a digital age, I think people lost the charm of reading. So one was that. Second was to give access to books to everyone. So our whole decor, as you must have seen, is all about books. We have books which we buy, we have new books, we have a lot of donation which comes from our guests. And you can buy the books at 50% the price. You can come to the cafe, read for how long you want to. And so deepen the whole literature ecosystem. That's the bookstore part of it. And then, of course, we have a pizza integration as well, a good pizza program. But not just pizza, then we have all the other things as well, like from sandwiches to pastas to whatever works and complements with coffee. So I would say that Bookbar becomes that whole ecosystem per se, and we do a lot of community events. So we are very big on community events. We We do a lot of workshops, we do a lot of events, we do a lot of author events, book launches, conversations, and a truly integrated community ecosystem where people feel at home. So that's the long and short of what Bookbar is, and you guys have been regulars at the cafe, so happy to be having this conversation with you.
I totally agree with you. I mean, the kind of books you have are not easily findable in any shops. So that was certainly one question that I had for you, that being a book lover, I was the first one to visit the cafe.
Right.
And if you see the interiors, right, it's classic, it's retro, it'll take you back to the past. So this question came up in my mind, that when you started this cafe, so most of the cafes that we already have in Pune have a modern kind of interiors, but you choose a very aesthetic, a very retro, a very cozy kind of interiors. So what was the thought behind that? I mean, and how has been the reaction? Personally, I love it. It takes me back to the 90s. I'm a millennial. I enjoy it, and you know very well that readership is dwindling.
Right.
And it's a wonderful place to sit and read, have a coffee and cup shop. But
well, I'm glad you liked it. And somewhere you also answered your own question that it takes you back to the 90s, the 80s. I am also millennial. Rushar is also millennial. But the idea was how do we retain the culture of the city, but render it in a modern way. So modern vintage is the theme which we will articulate here. It's not only vintage. We were very clear when we were designing that, to retain the aesthetic of the 80s, of 90s, of being rooted in humility, so to speak. Not go very fancy and not go very minimalistic, and yet have a very modern finish to it, which is relatable for today's audience. I think that part is very important. So because we are millennials, we have great exposure on how life was at that time. I think vintage has come back. People have started appreciating what was, right? And when I say modern, I think from the finishing, from the colors we use, from the kind of aesthetic we have, I think we also appeal to the younger generation who is born on Instagram, right? So you have to account for that as well. So I think we found a good sweet spot, and that's the kind of vibe we went ahead with, and we will go ahead with that. Though each Bookbar will have a very different localized design integration. So while books, coffee, and there are certain elements of the brand will be common across the brand, across the board. Depends on the area, the city, or wherever we go, there will be some sort of local integration, to make it a little more personalized, so to speak.
One part completely relatable is the localite part, but not just that. When I visited your mini Bookbar, I think another branch.
Yes.
I saw foreigners over there.
Right.
I saw even some Marathi celebrities over there.
Right.
So that was something amazing, bit different from visiting other such cafes. But taking a step back, let's say when you decided to start this cafe,
right.
The market in Pune, the heart of the city, it's quite crowded. So what led you to having that confidence? Okay, I can open a cafe and it will have a separate appeal. In the initial phase, let's say first 3 months, 6 months, were there any challenges that you had to face in terms of, let's say, table roundabouts and other aspects?
That's a power-packed question. No, so see, I think you can answer all of this after a year when you're doing decently well, that you can say that, I had something in mind or all that. Honestly, we really didn't have a plan per se. Okay. So I'll give you a little bit of a background. 2-3 years I've been hanging around in cafes because I was freelancing and I was doing a bunch of things and not necessarily wanting to work from an office. So I used to go from cafe to cafe and I started understanding coffee. So coffee became something very, I was very curious about it. And I keep saying this in conversation that it's like perfume. It's so personal, it's layered, the whole journey from planting to the seed, to the roasting, so much of nuance, right? So much of small detail. And by the time that comes to the cafe and it's brewed and then you're having a cup, it's a beautiful journey. So that got me curious. And I started understanding flavors, understanding coffee. And it became a very dear part of my routine, right? And I used to keep moving from one cafe to the other. One cafe, like, for example, say you move across 3 cafes in a day. One will have something but it will not have something else. And then the other cafe will have that which was not there in this cafe. And then, you keep moving around. So, and I was traveling that year and I saw a lot of these modern vintage themed cafes in Europe. And, there was like this whole new subculture where people were ready to pay extra money, but they wanted to be lively. They wanted a very wholesome experience in under one roof. And I kind of understood that, even I want to hang out. Like me and Rushad were like, yeah, let's build something which we can hang out the whole day. We don't have to keep going here and there. So that kind of planted the seed, and coffee was booming. Pune has always been about katta culture and tea culture, right? But the modern rendition of a katta culture now is this kind of a cafe, right? And coffee, we have coffee lovers in the city, but the discoverability of something aspirational, the lifestyle part of it, I think I realized that, maybe the city needs a little reshuffle, from what is already there. Something more happening, something more lively, something which has all our passion points like coffee, books. I love books. So I think they have been such an integral part of my life. Music, community events, and the love for building and networking and having a good subculture, right? You're influencing subculture, you're impacting people's lifestyles, their attitude. So I think all of this was brewing, and I just happened to have a discussion with Rushad, I think we should do something in coffee. And he was doing something with a bar that time. And I don't know, just like how sometimes everything just clicks when it has to. And one fine day on Instagram chats, Rushad was like, let's do this. And he also had some ideas around doing books and all of that. So it just came together. And from that time, this was October 2024, we started looking for places, honestly not knowing what we were getting into. We just knew that, okay, fine, let's build everything around books, around community, and let's see if we can disrupt something. That's how the first store, Kothrud, started on 3rd of Jan.
Okay.
And when that started, honestly, we didn't even know who would come, who was going to be a primary audience. Though I had an idea, but I didn't know that it would just explode like this. And the month of Jan was like, we were like, oh God, this is insane. Cafe being full the whole day, and it was like a hustle and bustle and great crowd, and the kind of crowd you would see in Europe or when you go clubbing, minus the alcohol, the energy. We started feeling that. And the whole idea was also to create a space which belongs to everyone. So if you see, I don't say that we are a co-working or we are X, Y, Z. We have this space. Whatever suits you, this is for you. So I think that everyone got related to it a little. And of course, you have to give a good product. So because of the diversity of the menu, because of the whole aesthetics, Instagrammable place, and because of all of this, I think it just came together beautifully. That is how we built the first. And then first momentum, then we were like, you know what, the momentum is there. So we changed our strategy. Let's build on momentum. And that's how FC happened. And that's how Bookbar Prabhat Road happened. And Prabhat Road is, we call it as a sub-brand, which is Bookbar Mini. So minis are going to be those cafes which are integrated in smaller spaces. Very intuitive, very intimate, so to speak, very aesthetically to that particular area. It could be just a window, it could be a 20-seater. So minis are that. And yeah, we are here today after a year and 3 months having the conversation with you.
I think it's a great story. I feel Bookbar is like a community event where, any book lover, any professional or friends just gathering for a gupshup can coexist.
Right.
It's also very interesting to know how much effort both of you have put in building this, an idea which 1 year down the line has become so popular. Coming to coffee, where do you source the coffee from, and what all different types of coffee do you get it for?
So see, sourcing is across. So India is one of the largest exporters. We are known for our coffee, right? In the southern region, it's filled with farms, and this is not a new fact. right? So there are multiple farms. Some are big, some are very small, micro lot, smaller farmers. Then there is something which is happening in the northeast also. So we have about 10 to 15 farms we are always in touch with. It's not only one, we get samples. So we don't want to take thought leadership on, oh, this is our coffee, right? Yes, we have our own brand also, which is Bookbar coffee, which is our own blend. So we've kind of had the recipe and we are roasting it according to what we want to. So that's there. But so many different farms send samples, so many different roasters send samples, and it's not something. That's the beauty of it, right? Like, you get access to so much, and you just shortlist. We give it to our community to taste, and then whatever people like, we give them. So to answer your question, it's not just one or two farms. So we do our research. It's always there in the on the mind of the team that let's try to speak to new people, new farms, and just see different options. And so usually in an artisanal coffee, so you have a light roast, you have a medium roast, you have a dark roast. So I think varietal coffee. So you have multiple options in light roast. So when I say light roast, so for example, we have a coffee called a Stillness.
Yeah.
It has a floral note to it, right? Very popular. So when the bean was being fermented, you introduce microbes and other things so that you get that flavor, right? Then we have a very popular coffee called as Jhoom.
Yeah.
The Jhoom is a whiskey
And
barrel.
I'm a huge fan of it. And you know that.
You always have been. So what is Jhoom? And what is a whiskey barrel, right? So basically, in a very layman language, you have whiskey barrels, correct? When you remove the whiskey, you take the seed, flower, coffee seed, and you put it in that barrel after it is dried, washed, and all that. So the aroma of the barrel gets fermented, and the flavor of that sits in the bean. That's where you get the flavor of whiskey in a coffee cup. So very popular. You can have it hot, you can have it iced. We have a very beautiful cold brew we do with that, 24 hours steamed. So that's one of our, same we have rum. So we call it Madsar. So Jhoom and Madsar are one of our hot selling coffee items. Then we have a Vienna roast. So in the roasting profile, in the roaster's language, Vienna is a very dark roast. So it's no flavor, but it has flavors of a little bit of chocolate. But very bold. My favorite, like my morning cup has to be a Vienna roast, like pure coffee. And then according to the light, medium, dark, we keep changing. So we have 3-4 constants, which will be constant throughout the year. And then we have every 2 months we keep dropping new coffees, seasonal, micro lots. Some coffees are only available for like only 100 kgs the farmer has grown, and it will never grow again, right? Okay. So that's also something very exciting. That 4 mahina hai ye coffee ke liye. We explain it to everyone, and then after 4 months, then it goes, and then something new comes. So this is the whole coffee program, and it's very exciting, because I don't know what's going to come in 6 months. Something very exciting will come. You put it on the menu, and you will have it.
And just to give a feedback on Jhoom, it actually makes you feel Jhoom. Trust me, I mean, someone who wants to, focus on studies, someone who wants to read, someone who wants to work.
That's the
someone who wants to work for long hours. It's beautiful. Just one question on this: with 3 stores, with wonderful menu, diverse variety of coffee, how do you get? Because I've been to all 3 stores of yours. I've never been disappointed with quality. Right. So how do you maintain the quality with so much complexity?
Or before switching to a different subject, can I add one question?
Sure.
Please.
So a lot of information around coffee can be intimidating for someone who's stepping in for the first time.
Right.
Even when I started Robusta, Arabica, everything was new to me. So from your perspective, if someone for the first time is stepping into Bookbar, what would be your, let's say, 3 suggestions in terms of coffee to try out and how he or she can explore it?
See, very good question. And this is something which we strive internally to give the best customer experience without making it intimidating. Absolutely right, coffee can be very intimidating. Sometimes I used to go to some coffee shops And I was like, what do I order? This is so confusing.
Exactly.
Like, what are these different, V60 kya hai, slow pour, this, that. It's a crazy thing, right? So I think there are 2-3 aspects to it. One is that we were very conscious of designing the menu that way. So if you look at our menu now, it is very self-explanatory on how you can approach ordering coffee. Either you're a black coffee person or you're a milk coffee person, right? So in black coffee, largely people will have an American, right? They only know that. But under that, there will be an option of a pour over, of a French press, and the beans which go with it. So first thing is that menu simplify karo, theek hai? Make it easy for someone to use his intelligence to understand. That's point number one. Point number two, I think we have a great service team. We have guest relationship managers and the baristas who we encourage to talk. So if I'm confused, I will always get a barista who will explain what a jhoom is. What does a pour over do? What is a French press? What is the difference? What happens? And someone who is coming to Bookbar with the intention of discovering coffee will always find this encouraging to talk to our service or talk to the baristas, and that's how we will come to know, right? See, if you look at the crowd generally, right now only about 30 people out of 100 know their coffee, have understood it, and know exactly what they want. Around 30 more people will only come for the experience. Khana bhi hai. I don't mind trying a coffee here and there, ambience and all of that, right? And the rest of them will just come. They don't have any per se want, right? So the middle lot is where the conversion has to happen.
Okay.
Right? And so it's a combination of both. It's a combination of having a good simplified menu, a conversation and recommendation by the relationship manager or the barista, right? And of course, on social media, we keep talking about it. We're starting our workshop series, to give people an access to what is specialty coffee, what is artisanal coffee, what are the different brewing methods. And all this combined educates our guest. So it's not always one way. It has to be multiple ways where you interact with your customer, and that's how he feels not intimidated. Otherwise, it can be very intimidating. And a lot of people will take this thought leadership, and if it works for them, great. This is what it is. You see what you want to, or you don't, it's up to you. But we have made it very, very clear to everyone in our service team that, the idea is to help people discover coffee, try different things, and then let them decide what they like, right? So one thing which goes as our tagline, and we keep saying that, Bookbar is a place where you can express who you are through our coffee. So if you're feeling bold, you can either do a Vienna roast, which is a dark roast, or an espresso, right? Pour overs are more sophistication, French press is even more sophisticated, like very fine, and then the different beans to go with it. So आपके mood के हिसाब से आपके पास पूरा arsenal है express करने के लिए, and that's what we truly want to do. It's a humble brand. It's something which also takes a lot of effort to educate people, make them aware, without making them feel intimidated.
That was quite insightful.
Indeed.
I mean, it had to be because there is that much we have to do to, have our customer understand coffee. Otherwise, nahi samajh mein aata hai, difference between Arabica and Robusta. What is a blend? Why is Arabica coffee so expensive? Where is it grown? At what altitude? Robusta usually is grown on the lower side of the foothills, easier to access, hence wider, reach, low cost. Of course, there are some premium Robustas also, but Arabica is generally on the higher altitude, very not that accessible. The crop gets, usko kharab jaldi ho sakta hai. Lot of factors go in this whole coffee plantation situation. So people will only respond to what they understand, right? And then there is an emotional connect. See, customers today want something real, want emotion. Logic is on one side and emotions on the other side. When you connect emotion to emotion, that's where the brand loyalty always stays. I think everyone's logical. No one wants to be told कि तू ये करो वो मत करो ठीक है. But प्यार से समझाओ कि ये आप पीने वाले हो और इसका ये ऐसा ऐसा है. I think it's human, right? I also got introduced to coffee the same way.
Yeah.
And so for you, maybe for Jhoom, I remember you having this conversation with me at Mini.
Yes.
And then you develop a familiarity with it, right? And then whatever you feel familiar with sticks.
I mean, very rarely does a day go that I don't have Jhoom. So I've become so addicted to it.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yes, it is indeed.
So that I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it does.
So how do you maintain the operational control with so much diverse products or the 3 branches? Because I've never seen quality just slipping.
To be honest, it's not easy. Okay, it's. I mean, I wish Rushad was here. He would have given more insight because he handles that aspect of the brand. But I think we definitely have paid a lot of emphasis on good systems. Okay. We have a purchase team. We have created a wide, like a top-down hierarchy, but also wide in terms of cross hierarchy to have a 360 approach on monitoring, quality control. So branch levels, cluster levels, purchase level, sourcing level, all of that. I think since everything is centralized now, it becomes easier to distribute it to the outlets. So we have a very strong unit there. And of course, to be very honest, it's a very simple answer. You got to be there and you got to have good teams to be able to maintain quality. Without good teams, no show. So this is the reality of, I think, any business, but especially in a F&B hospital. I'm not from hospitality, by the way.
Yeah.
But from whatever little I've understood, it's like an event every day. आप घर पे रोज किसी को बुला रहे हो, ठीक है? तो आप कैसे hospitality, how will you present yourself, right? You will check your food, you will have your staff, you'll brief them. It's a everyday thing. And as I said, checklist, systems, set good systems, the rest will follow. So we are very particular on our systems. We have a good POS system. We have regular meetings. So there's a chef group and there is an X group and Y group. So every day the reports keep coming. And we go and do it ourselves.
Now coming to, let's say, forward-looking aspect of Bookbar. What are your plans, let's say, in this year, next year in terms of expanding Bookbar?
I've told you what the plans are, but I think I'll leave that part to element of surprise.
Okay.
We have a very, very interesting year coming up. Of course, we are going to be opening more Bookbars for sure, but I would just keep it to that right now.
Okay.
But definitely, I think we've got so much love from the community. We've got great feedback, good and constructive. And the thing is, we always take feedback from our customers. So one of our models is that we put everything out to our customers, take the average of it, real time, and then implement it. So that's something which has worked really well. So, we keep getting great energy from people. And I think we found this space to be very interesting with respect to coffee. It's just going to expand. Subculture, music, giving people a space for spending 6-7 hours for doing multiple things. At a book bar, you'll work for an hour, you'll chill for an hour, you'll call a friend for an hour, you'll read for an hour, you will just, hang out for an hour, and then 5-6 hours, you're sorted. So this needs to go deeper into the country, and that is our roadmap. So definitely, I'm waiting. I can't wait for what I will reveal.
That brings me to the next question.
Yeah, please.
Now, there are cafes where you're not allowed to sit for a long time, okay, because they'll be behind you. Just get up and leave. Well, I've been in Bookbar, and I don't know how many hours I've been there. Staff will never ask me to leave, okay, and I sit there for hours. Maybe I just had one Jhoom, or maybe I had 2 Jhoom, but then I sit for 5 hours, 7 hours. How is it beneficial to you from a financial standpoint? Because you have your cost to pay. You're here for the business. You're here to do business. You're here to generate profit. So, what is the main theme of that? Like, if customer is coming, sitting there for hours, how do you see that customer benefiting you if he or she is going to be there for a very long time?
See, so a couple of things, right? And this is not a model. While 70-80% of our ethos is that, you know what, you can sit for however much time you want to, read a book, do whatever. Maybe it works the other way for other cafes. I have no comment on that. But for us, I think we leave it to people to decide. I don't want to tell people anything. I have found it the reverse way. Like, you know, aap dekho, you are sitting for 4 hours. After 1 hour, you will feel hungry, right? People know what they have to do. At some point, no, people who come to a cafe, you know, generally will eat, will drink. Yes, they will sit for longer. But one day you will sit. Second day you will eat. You are on your own there, and we trust our customer. 70-80%. Of course, you will have 10% people who will just not have anything. ठीक है यार. I mean, 10-15% doesn't really bother, but you have a good 85% of people who are aware. They know where they are coming because we are giving everything to them. So you will have 2 coffees, then after a while you will feel hungry, then you will order, and then this will be habituated, and whatever you are habituated with, you will repeat. You know, I just told you, right? People don't like to be told.
Yeah, when I initially came, I just had one job, and then I started have chips. I started have pizza. So it's basically you're targeting those customers who love to have the feel, and then they actually spend, and that is how it works.
Because you know, that's, I think we were very particular on how the vibe of the cafe needs to be. A place like Bookbar cannot be a fast moving cafe. Maybe in some other cities or wherever we go, we will pivot to that model and whatever is the region's rules, right? I'm not saying this will be what it is, but right now I think, you know, you want to come by, you want to read a book, you want to have a coffee, and you want to sit by yourself. You need to I need to give the customer that time and respect, right? ठीक है, we might earn 10 rupees less, but we will have 100% satisfied customer, right? So I would rather have that than this, and do it very genuinely and authentically, because we also have in our communication something called as pause with purpose. We want to create these spaces where, you know, you're slow living, which is always you know, misunderstood as, you know, not working and chilling. No, it's intentional living. You know, you're pausing, you're spending time by yourself. You need such spaces, right? And this is what is there in our ethos. So we want to be true to it as much as we can. And yes, of course, sometimes there is a business angle to it. Like, you know, can't have 50 people not ordering anything, right? We also expect some respect from the customers, and I think so far it has been fantastic. Kudos to our community, I guess.
I had walked in with my friends. One friend is from Bangalore,
right?
Okay, where, you know, it's a book-loving city.
Absolutely.
And if you visit MG Road, you still have those bookshops since colonial times. There was another friend who is from Rajasthan. Now he is someone who doesn't like coffee, and we came with him to the Bookbar. So he was like, why can't the cafe also introduce chai, different types of chai? So I know you have tea, but is there a plan to diversify more into tea business?
See, I think I'm a chai lover. First, chai pehle aur coffee baad mein, right? तो मेरे को अगर किसी के कैफे में जाना है, जो भी है, so I am very particular about the kind of tea I would want if there was tea being sold. Right. I know we cannot achieve that, you know. So see, right now there is no such plan, and we had introduced tea. I think this comes from the feedback of what people give us. You know, if it's a coffee house now, stick to your lane and do well in your lane. Otherwise, you start losing your identity. You know? So I'm happy with being an artisanal coffee shop. Of course, tea is there, but we don't have another diverse menu for tea. Sometimes we'll add something, sometimes we will change a few things, but it will always be a coffee forward cafe, and we want to stick to that identity. don't want to get overwhelmed and okay, now we'll do this also and that also. We are happy. We know exactly where we want to go. And I think that makes a lot of sense in today's times.
So my friend from Bangalore had a suggestion, from Bengaluru had a suggestion. She requested, please open up ASAP in Bengaluru, and she'll be the first person with her entire group to visit. So
No, hopefully.
we have no one to comment, but we can make a request to you.
Bangalore is a fantastic city. Coffee is thriving there. You have so many cafes there, and Bangalore has an advantage, the access to all the farms around. So definitely Bangalore is a hot spot. Hopefully we do a Bookbar in Bangalore as well. There are plans. I'll just leave it to that.
Okay. Though one thing I want to point out is there are a lot of restaurants, let's say I explore through Instagram and other places. Bookbar I got to know through him. I further introduced Bookbar to 4-5 folks more. So one thing that stands out about Bookbar is a strong word of mouth as compared to, not sure how the digital presence work, but the quality really speaks for itself in terms of overall experience and everything. So coming to, I would say, ultimate aspect of a conversation, that let's say from both perspectives, let's say if you're talking to a customer, or let's say you're talking to a budding entrepreneur who wants to enter into this space, what would be your advice in terms of, let's say, exploring new experiences and how Bookbar can be part of their journey?
Well, to be very honest, and when you said before, like when the podcast started, like success, I'm very scared of that word, because for me, like this is just the beginning. Okay, so I don't want to, and nor does the brand want to take any stance on, oh, we've made it, or like we are pioneers or whatever. No, we know what we want to do, and we are happy when we get word of mouth, right? How the advice on a very generic level is like, I think today finding what you love and passion speaks for itself, right? That's one thing which I feel that really can help people, like to find what you really want to, because you're going to spend a lot of time doing it, and you got to be very happy doing it, because startups are not easy. Every day it's a big back and forth which is happening. See, this sounds very rosy and articulate right now, but I know what happens on an everyday basis, so it's not easy at all. So unless you're not passionate about it, you should not get into it. Passion sustains. See, Bookbar is a place where a lot of ideas have also been born. We are coming up with something which is the new beginnings at Bookbar. So somebody started a business, somebody met someone, a relationship started. A lot of things happen at Bookbar, right? And the space is there for thinkers, creators, for startups to have their meetings, network, plan, sit. We are there for that. We are a platform which gives you that access. So you can use the space very interestingly. I see a lot of agencies work out of Bookbar, by the way. And they are our regular customers. They finish their work, they're doing calls, meetings, meeting people, and they're like, we love it. We don't need to go anywhere.
I took some interviews in Bookbar.
You have answered your own question, right? So this is how the brand can help answering your question. With respect to advice, I mean, what advice can I give? Just be authentic.
So you are someone who comes with a very strong professional background in branding strategy.
Right.
Where do you see today Bookbar as a brand, and where do you see a few years down the line as a brand? What would you like to, or how would you aspire it to be?
Well, to be honest, as long as you get to know from him, and your friends get to know from you, and we can continue this chain and create this movement, that's where the brand will go. To give you an insight on that, we do all our marketing ourselves. For us, and nothing wrong with influencers per se, I think everyone is an influencer. You influenced him, right? You influenced your friends. You are our true brand ambassadors. So for me, there are two moments of truth, right? One is when someone chooses one brand over the other. That's the first. And the second moment of truth is when you're happy with what you've chosen. So if we can keep answering these moments of truths every day and give the same experience for someone who's coming to the cafe for the first time or for the 100th time, I think then we can say that, you know what, this is where the brand has been built, where the trust has been built. And if we can aspire that, this is where I would definitely want the brand to grow.
And being a book lover, my family, like my parent, was visiting British Library for past 50 years.
Right.
I have grew up visiting the library. What we could see is readership going down. What we could see, bookshops getting shut. And when Bookbar opened, it was so nice to see that the hardbound, the physicality
Right.
is still there. The retro culture is coming back. So
Right.
thank you for bringing it back. We, as a book lover, as a true Punekar, we felt that it is becoming extinct. So like Bangalore still has got those old bookshops alive, but unfortunately in Pune you see there are only 1 or 2 bookshops which are there apart from Crossword, those classic bookshops. And to have a bookshop, a cafe, I think you've brought back the retro culture. So
And
thank you.
I'm so happy that people are resonating with it. And I won't lie to you, the number of calls we get for donations. Suddenly people are like, we have so many books, what do we do with it? Like, bring it to the cafe. So I think this is the true sense of community where, and it's so interesting. That day someone just opened a book and there was a letter in that book.
Yeah.
किसी ने लिखा होगा किसी के लिए, किसी ने mark किया होगा कुछ भी, is being read by a 21-year-old, which would have happened in say 1970s or 80s. तब का एक book था. I mean, look at this moment, right? Suddenly we are bridging all of this together, right? So it all comes from that aspect as well, like, to cement this bond, to get people to read more, to get people to donate more, and be authentic with it.
So when I explored the books, I could spot few books which are not available anywhere easily in India.
Right.
I think they're available somewhere abroad. And maybe I spotted them in Pagdandi where I was there. But yeah, some books are not easily available, but for sure we'll get that in Bookbar. So
I mean, we've spent a lot of time doing our research. It's not something which just happened overnight. We want, and because as I said, like, so one is what we source and the other is what people give us, and people from different walks of life, in different professions. So you'll have books on spirituality, management, fiction, of course, classics. We have children's books. We have the Worldcraft series, which I remember in the 80s and 90s. We have books on art, cooking, now Marathi books, a lot of them. We are also encouraging authors who perhaps may not have the platform to launch, to come to Bookbar and launch their books, keep their books. We have a IP called as Conversation with Authors. We speak to authors every two authors in a month, so to speak. The idea is to get more local authors to come, talk, keep their book, give access to people to their book. ये अभी होता नहीं आजकल, right? And we are wanting to do it genuinely. I don't take any money for it, right? So it ties very beautifully as an ecosystem experience push for the customer. So that's probably what resonates from a book point of view. Book clubs. We have someone coming from Bombay every month to do events at Bookbar, right? That's a great validation for us, And today, a lot of people are traveling. It's like a Bookbar is a must visit in Pune. When you hear something like this, that's where you feel that, you have impacted someone's lifestyle or have that top of mind recall for someone to come and experience what you are putting out there, right? I think that's something which is very encouraging, especially from a literature standpoint.
So last question for you. We know, reading is going down. We know people are finding information so easily with AI and, easy to click. Attention, no one wants to give that much attention. Do you think through this platform, you can get that reading habit back to the younger population?
See, so it's a yes and no. I am a big advocate on digital and tech. I don't want to do something which will be like, this will replace something or it will cancel something. No, it's complementing. I've seen people come to Bookbar with their Kindle. I've seen people reading on their phones also. So if you are someone who likes to read a physical book, it's there. If you are someone who wants to bring your Kindle, have a coffee, it's there. The idea is to have the option, a very strong option to do either. So I don't want to say that, I want to bring the culture back and take thought leadership on it. Yes, the culture will be brought back by the people. If they respond to it, that becomes, what is culture at the end of the day? The majority of people doing something regularly and affecting people's lifestyles becomes culture. So culture ka small subculture is what we've kind of created. So I'm sure it will be a 50-50. You will find digital as strong as the physical from a reading standpoint. So that would be my take on it.
Thank you, and wishing you all the very best.
Thank you so much. Love
it's a pleasure
to
talking
have
to you.
this conversation.
Yes. Something you mentioned,
Anji.
moments of truth, that has stayed with me. It was very impactful.
I've read
Thank you for
it.
sharing that.
I would not take. I don't know where I've read this, but I think it also stayed in my mind, and all the experiences of meeting so many people. I think it comes down to that you have to keep winning these moments of truth. I hope we've won another one here after this conversation.
Yes, thank you for such an
Thank you.
amazing podcast.
Pleasure.
It was an amazing podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So thank you for watching the video till the end. If you like the video, don't forget to press the thumbs up button. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe so that you get updated the next time our next amazing podcast comes in. Don't forget to share it with your friends and family who would love to go through a coffee journey that we shared in this episode. Thank you once again. I'll see you in the next episode.